Good morning to all my listeners. We have all heard and deliberated time and again that change is the only constant in life. But do we also know that fear is also a constant? As per Heraclitus, since times immemorial, humans have liked routine. It has made us feel in control of our lives. But how to crack the code of change and above all, make it stick is the question we will try to address here today. We mortals have an arduous affinity with change. While we do believe that it's both inescapable and a recipe for growth, change can also be deeply discomforting, especially if it's inadvertent or unbridled. Why should we change when things are hunky-dory? And what better will happen if we change in a trying situation is our way of resisting change. Although the final outcome is the same, our depiction of behavior in both situations are different. A happy, confident feeling to a sad, fearful feeling. I call this as direct inward dialing syndrome, wherein one delineates different behaviors in different situations. This comes naturally to us, isn't it? Very often we hear people saying that we are getting rusted, but how many actually do something about it? The answer is very few of us. I change by not changing at all is what we swear by. This statement might sound very powerful in the song by Pearl Jam, but what we miss here is the context in which this was said. But this is not how it works in the real world, be it in a relationship or at work. Although we all believe in the narrative that change is the only constant in life, what we don't remember is the prerequisite to the same, which is acceptance of the present. And once we do that, change becomes easier and manageable. Let's understand here that acceptance is different from complacency, which is a state of fear, inaction, and above all stagnation, which is not a healthy flowing river. It is an idle and a stale pond. In fact, acceptance leads to optimism, which can make it easier to see the positive aspects of life and feel hopeful about the future. And secondly, a rich life where one can savor one's achievements and be free from insecurities. This is contrary to what we all reckon. If we pause here a bit, we will realize that acceptance is not equivalent to defeat or giving in. It is actually a trait of learning leadership and acknowledgement of the unvarnished facts of ourselves and our situation, the good and the not so good, without judging ourselves. This change assists us to stay relevant all the time and helps us improve and thrive. Small incremental changes and adapting to our surroundings is all what matters when one wants to grow on a personal and a professional front. It is said by Franklin that when you are finished changing, you are finished. So true, isn't it? A lot of us here would argue that change is not always a good thing. We feel that it can be stressful, costly, and even destructive. Well, change is inherently not good or bad. What's important about change is how we envision it and react to it. It can teach us to adapt and help us to develop resilience, but only if we understand our own capacity for growth and learning. When change makes us better, it's because we have learned how to turn a challenging situation to our own advantage, not merely because change happened. Here, I would redefine change as a fluid change, which helps an individual or an organization to make change as easy as not changing. Let's not consider change as a moonshot goal and drastic. Instead, see it as a small step towards productivity, innovation, creativity, excellence, and more importantly, self-improvement. Change for the sake of changing is like jumping in a bottomless pit. The emotions like anger, false pride, pessimism, arrogance, insecurity, and panic that undermine change should be replaced by emotions such as faith, trust, optimism, hope, and reality-based pride, which facilitate change. We see, we feel, and we change should become the maxim of our lives in order to crack the real code of change. Change is a part of life, and it's important to embrace it. It gives us an opportunity to improve and progress as an individual, friend, and colleague. In order to thrive and make headway, it's important to embrace change. Late George Bernard Shaw, co-founder of London School of Economics, rightly said that progress is impossible without change, and those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. Thank you all for tuning in and take care.